Back, we are still here. This is it, the last day for the WGLNA finals. We already have one team going on. Eclipse took down the defending champs Noble, and we are getting ready for our second matchup. We also want to notice some Fantasy League winners for our season winner and our best first half and best second half winners. Those guys won a trip out here. They get to hang out with us, see how all of this is progressing, see some of the best tank players in North America play the game. We're all here to watch a little World of Tanks action. And now to tell us a little bit more about the matchup between SIMP and HWC is my main man over here in the corner, Toma and Negatron.
Good evening, guys. Thank you so much, Fubar. That's right. My name is Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. And this has been a final so far. Noble faced off against Eclipse, and Eclipse took it to Noble 5-2. So now they are one of our two finalists. Up next to decide it is going to be SIMP. It is going to be High Voltage. Now, David, again, one of the things we didn't touch on when we talked about the pre-show was what happened the last time that these two teams met up. And now what happened, I believe, High Voltage won. High Voltage beat SIMP, but this was kind of before SIMP was kind of going through their mega team building, as we've kind of talked about it.
It was the same situation we were talking about with Noble and Eclipse. When they played, it was early in the season. When High Voltage and SIMP played, again, it was early in the season.
Yeah.
It was before a lot of the roster changes. There was still some... High Voltage still had one of the players that they've lost. There's been a lot of changes since then, and SIMP is an entirely different team. So I don't think it's even a relevant thing to go back and look on that. We have to look at only what we've seen lately.
Yeah.
And man, who even knows what's going to happen at this point?
Because if we were to look at the Eclipse versus Noble matchup, it was like, oh, Noble clearly won the last time, so they should win this time. That did not happen. The complete opposite happened. So let's pull up the brackets now, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight. There you guys have it. Noble versus Eclipse. Eclipse picked that one up. They are one step closer. They are going to be battling whoever wins this next match between SIMP and High Voltage. Again, it is a first to five. 5 victories is all one of these teams need to be one step closer to $75,000 and that sweet, sweet title of the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League victors. So now, David, talk to me a little bit. We have the fantasy page pulled up so we can talk about that as we kind of go over this. But looking at both these teams, their strengths, their weaknesses, in comparison to each other, how is SIMP against High Voltage? What are they good at? What are they bad at? What do you think is going to be that kind of deciding factor?
It's really hard to predict what High Voltage is going to be today. I mean, Eclipse looked fantastic in the playoffs. High Voltage looked excellent in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
When I saw Eclipse, we'll talk about that when we see in the next game. Sorry, I'm still so caught up in that battle.
It was crazy.
What an adrenaline rush that was.
If you saw it, you would know.
With this one, it's hard to say what kind of a High Voltage we're going to see today. I believe we're going to see a fantastic game out of SIMP. I really hope High Voltage brings it as well. I would love to see just an absolute toe-to-toe slugfest between these two teams. It looks like we're starting off on Cliff, and I could not be more excited to see a map in my entire life.
That is going to be a fantastic match indeed. And now before we actually get into the battles, we have some sweet interviews set up for you guys. So Fubar is standing by with SIMP. Fubar, take it away.
I am here with Overlord Prime of Team SIMP. Now, you guys, there's already one team been eliminated. How are you strategizing against the team you're now facing to go on and face that potential team?
We're not really too bothered about it. We are a bit concerned about what team won, which was Eclipse. However, we can't be concerned of what team won because we have to win our match first. And for that to happen, we just have to concentrate on what we're doing right now, do what we've practiced, make sure we win, make sure we get our strats down, our positions down, and just play to the best of our ability.
Now, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but this is probably the biggest game you guys have played all year. Are you guys taking any new strategies, or are you guys sticking with the game plan you stuck with for the whole season?
No comment.
I like that. A man of mystery. So are you guys gonna just plan to go in hard, or are you guys gonna play a little defensive, maybe take it back, relax a little bit, and not try to take down Brooklyn over here like he's gonna try to take you down?
Just YOLO and hope we win.
YOLO all day, every day. Now my Chippendale entrepreneur, Meadowhawk, with Team HWC.
Thanks, Jose. I'm here over with High Voltage and Wall Hacks. So Wall Hacks, your team, High Voltage, no stranger to the pressures of the live finals. You've been to Grand Championships. What's the secret to staying so calm and cool?
All just experience, man. You just gotta realize that nothing's personal. Whoever's playing better at the day, just gotta win.
So you could almost say that you just forget about it?
Yeah, we forget about it.
Nice. Okay, so SIMP, they are here to redeem themselves after last season's playoffs. How are you going to shut them down, especially now that they're on a super hot streak coming out of the season?
SIMP's a good team. They got a lot going with them right now, but you gotta look at their faces after this match. They're gonna be so happy.
Shots fired. So, to call this exciting match between SIMP and High Voltage, my battle buddies for life again, Christian and David.
Thank you so much, Meadowhawk. I love the shots fired in that one. It's like the interview between Noble and Eclipse is like, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're kind of reserved. Yeah, this is what our plan is. You go to High Voltage. While I was like, yeah, we're gonna just kill him. Just go zoom in on those tiers, maximum tiers for maximum effort. Now let's pull up the fantasy page here from both of these teams. Again, it is SIMP versus High Voltage. David, walk me through what we've got.
So SIMP has played Himmelsdorf the most in the regular season. They use the T22 the most. In fact, that's the common on both teams. Overlord Prime, the lead scorer for SIMP right now. He's kind of traded places with him in Photo Finish, and I believe Adroxis at different points in time. Meanwhile, High Voltage, overall rank 2 in the regular season.
Okay.
But Steps, their most played map overall, and the T22, again, Blue Boys captain. Both the MVP and their leading scorer in this battle. So,
makes sense.
Like we've talked about, the talent on both of these teams is incredibly deep. A lot of these teams actually have played, so a lot of the guys from High Voltage used to be on SIMP. We're talking about Blue Boys. I think he might actually be one of the only few that is left at this point, as a lot of it has changed over. Wallhacks coming from Simple Tankers, etc. But this is going to be an incredible match. I look forward to it. Cliff is always...
It's always fun.
Always exciting.
It's never a dull moment on Cliff. And as we've seen as the season has progressed, like early on, people were kind of figuring out it was a new map introduced for this season. People had played it before, but as far as from the last season to this one, and it was like, okay, we'll kind of sit back a little bit, but now it seems toward the end, teams like, nope, it's just an all-out hill battle, rushed, maybe go the donut and rush and fight there. So I'm excited to see both of these teams kind of face off against that. David, again, we talked about the player talent on the side of High Voltage, that being one of their biggest strengths. I mean, a lot of these guys have done so many finals, been playing for such a long time. SIMP also kind of has this. So in the same way that we have, Noble and Eclipse being similar, would you say that SIMP and High Voltage are also similar in that sense? Absolutely.
They're both faster, more dynamic teams. They all kind of spread around the damage. I mean, most of us who play Fantasy know it's very hard to bet on a lot of the players from SIMP or a lot of the players from High Voltage. There's usually one or two guys, Overlord Prime and Adroxis, they'll put up points, but you can pick that for anybody on both teams. They're going to play it situationally. It's always going to be whoever is in the right position at the right time, given the strategy.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily try and set up anybody. They don't have to work around anybody. Some teams have a guy who can only snipe and he can't do a whole lot of rotations. SIMP and High Voltage both have incredible talent where they can rotate all over the place. It's going to come down to cohesion. Right now, SIMP is looking a little bit more cohesive overall.
Okay.
But like we said, in the playoffs, Eclipse looked great when they played.
Yeah.
They showed up great today.
High
so
Voltage
perhaps
looked
the regular
great.
season isn't a great instance, or isn't a great reference here.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, High Voltage looked fantastic, shut down
Right.
Simple Tankers very fast.
Yeah.
And maybe we're going to be looking at them doing that again today, but we haven't seen SIMP for a long time.
That's
and
true.
if I were High Voltage, that would scare me.
We're talking, kind of the idea of like, oh, you're able to watch all the tapes and go back, and toward the end of the season is what I would be, kind of pulling from is like, okay, this is what they're most like, and like you said, SIMP had a guaranteed bye here, so they didn't have to go through the playoffs. So these teams, or High Voltage in particular, doesn't know what really SIMP is up to. So it'll be interesting to see if they have some crazy boosts that we've never seen before, or if they have some amazing plays, or if they're just focus fires on point. But either way, it's going to be a fantastic battle right now, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to remind you to let us know who you think out of this second match is going to go on to the final match for $75,000. Will it be High Voltage? Will it be SIMP? Let us know right now in chat here. Such an exciting night. David, who would you give it to? Right now, just looking at the teams, both neck and neck.
Objectively, based on the last things we saw, I think SIMP is the better team overall, but High Voltage, I mean, who can even read their season and figure out what's going to happen today?
Sure.
They've been
So
a different
up and
team
downs.
every week almost, not just in their gameplay, but who they're playing, who's in their starting roster. So a lot of effort going into this finals for sure. High Voltage definitely looking to secure their place in the Polish Grand Finals, as that is a huge overlaying factor that sits like a cloud above everything everybody does today. Right now, Noble is on the rocks. They could lose that spot. I believe Eclipse takes everything. Noble could get knocked down. If Eclipse takes everything and High Voltage takes second, I believe is how it works.
Wow.
Then Noble loses a grand finals position. I believe that would be the first time a team that took first during the regular
season
seasons
finals
lost it overall. And like we said before, this is the closest season finals we have ever seen in WGL so far.
And you guys are watching it here live right now. If you guys kind of want to see about the idea of like, oh, hey, this is just seeing this competition. One of the things we wanted to show is as the interviews, we're talking to these teams, the past couple several days is they're just totally regular guys. They have jobs. They go to school. Some people are working on getting into colleges.
One of the things that was most surprising to me, I mean, regular life, sure. I mean, I've played. Everybody has regular lives. I knew a lot of these guys. The most surprising thing to me while we were interviewing them was how many battles these guys had played by themselves before they got connected.
Absolutely.
I dropped into a perfect situation. I got recruited into a great team in under 1,000 battles just because I knew people. A lot of these guys played for 7,000 battles before they even set foot in a clan, and that's just crazy.
That's
just crazy.
As an
Anyone
extrovert,
can be here.
Yeah, and just to kind of promote that even more, guys, if you go over to arena.razor1.com and click on the World of Tanks icon, you guys can be a part of these tournaments as well. You just go on, log on, and if I can do it, you definitely can do it. So go over there right now and check it out. What a jab! Oh gosh, always with it.
Set me up, man.
I'm sorry, it was absolutely perfect. Another kind of just want to shout out to one of our sponsors here while we have a second. Need for Seats, supplying these amazing seats that we are sitting in. Also, check us out. Look, oh, they're embroidered. Oh, look at that sick World of Tanks symbol, and on the back it says it as well. So thank you guys so much for supplying those seats here. HyperX for the amazing headphones, Alienware for all the computers, the guys, so Plays.tv, all of our sponsors. We thank you guys so much. And now we are getting ready to go into our second match. I can't believe the first match was so mind-blowing. Like you said, I'm still kind of thinking about it and setting up to this. So I'm looking forward to see what happens here.
Ghost Town wasn't surprising to me, but like I said, let's focus on this battle here.
Yeah.
Cliff. Oh,
Woo!
man. This is an action-packed map if there ever was one. Simp, an absolute force to be reckoned with on this map overall. And High Voltage, not exactly strangers to the meta in the middle of this map.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the second match is about to get underway between High Voltage. Simp on offense, High Voltage on defense. Let's hear it for these teams, and let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For the first game of our second match, Simp starting on offense with a 113, a Batchat, a 907, two T22s, a TVP, and an RU-251. High Voltage with two 113s, a Batchat, a 907, an STB, a TVP, and a Lorraine 155-51. It's an interesting start. A lot of weight in the 1-2 line based on both of these lineups. The two 113s for High Voltage. Very little other places they can go unless they perhaps push the 5-6 line. Have to take a second to really scope out the lineups. That would actually be relatively safe if Simp were running a much faster lineup. They would be forced to go into the 1-2, so High Voltage, perhaps either great planning or being a little bit let off the hook here. Simp trying to look for those early picks. They are going to focus on the 1-2 line. And High Voltage, given their lineup, doing an incredibly different thing than I would have guessed, and that is a promising start to see out of a tenured team like High Voltage.
Well, we've talked about, you kind of maybe expand on that a little more, how one of the huge parts of this game is looking at the initial lineup, seeing the tanks that you're about to go against and saying, okay, well, they brought this and this and this. They can only go here, here, or here. So what is High Voltage doing that you would expect them not to do?
Well, it's first off the placement of the artillery. The placement of the two 113s isn't all that abnormal, but just generally when you bring in artillery, you're going to try to tuck it into the A1 corner so you can get that easy reset on the 2 cap. But High Voltage just throwing a hook in everything here, and you said it. Huge portion of this game is looking at the lineups at the beginning of the battle, and that's in WGL, that's in regular public matches. Some of the best players always know where tanks can possibly be and exploit those early patterns, where you're going to get those early picks, and that is just as big in WGL, if not bigger than it is in public matches. Right now, High Voltage messing with the meta and trying to throw Simp off, but one early shot connecting with Blue Boy's captain. And Drynet's down one shot as well. That is a little bit of damage off a tier 8 for a little bit of damage off a tier 10. Nothing major so far as both teams showing each other an incredible amount of respect. But Ox taking 668 in the middle.
And that Batchat has to use his repair kit as well, taking another shot there. That's a lot of damage. He actually goes down. Crimson Corsair picking that one up, and that is a Batchat gone. For the side of High Voltage, one tank down. And now, David, what were you seeing is Oxthie's position? Obviously, he was up in the center of the hill there. Was he kind of their kind of overarching scout? Was he there to be able to flex?
Looked like he was getting ready to try and push on top of the hill. A little bit of an aggressive move given the situation that they're in right now. If Simp were paying very close attention to the map, they have all the information they need to know they can flex right under the south side. Drynet's going down to Ant, not a big problem there, considering it's a tier 8 trade for a tier 10. But right now, Simp has a wide open angle to push on the bottom half of this hill and then block High Voltage out from the middle of the map. And if they take that, they will be set up. Very perfect positions. Bird trying to get his last shots out in his TVP, bouncing a lot off the T22. 814 going into Nits.
Nits taking a lot of damage there for that cross here. Just a couple shots from Simp now, not connecting on Tiger Thief. They were pointed, though, in his direction. However, Nits has a lot of equipment damage, as you guys can see there by his nameplate on the left side in red. So he's got to be a little careful. Not going to be as helpful in team fights as if as basically his friend T22 there, Overlord Prime.
And there it is, Simp spying everything they needed to take these positions, and now they're going to get an easy pick on Bird. 2 113s are going to get caught out as Simp starts trying to convert this into their first win of the day.
Well, let's see if High Voltage can try to stop that. As you are right, David, Bird taking 817, dropping him to half health there in that 50-51. One more shot, and he'll be going down. Looks like he's trying to bail off the side of the hill. Photo finish is not going to let him do that. A couple shots there. Ooh, one just missing from E63M6, but he has 2 more now to make sure he connects some of those. The third shot missing. Let's see if the final one does as well.
That could have been the game right there. E63, a man you usually do not expect to miss. He is now on reload as Blue Boy stepping up the 1-2 line to get some early damage. He's going to have to not overstay his welcome, or he could become the next pick for Simp against High Voltage. Both teams relatively even on the hit points, but High Voltage drastically down in the overall positions, and Blue staying far too long as Nits and Overlord Prime collapse on him. But with so many shots left and Blue Boy's taking so much damage, he could convert this, but Overlord Prime starting to get that pick.
All right, now Blue Boy's in that STV1. He's got to be careful. Overlord Prime going on top of Tiger Thief. Does find E63M6 there. And now from the back, one of the members of Simp Crimson Corsair is going to take down Tiger Thief. Overlord Prime does find Blue Boy's captains. A couple tanks going down there on the side. High Voltage now with just 4. Simp with 5. Photo finish takes down and Thief. 3 tanks on the side of High Voltage remain. Simp has increased that HP gap by quite a bit. And like David, like you said, it looks like they're going to pick up their first victory, but Photo Finish actually taking a lot of punishment here, both from Bird Thief and Wallhacks. Wallhacks will have one more shot to take him down here. Let's see if it connects. It connects, it does, but a Droxus does find Bird Thief, leaving just 2 tanks. They are full HP. One of them, though, David, like you pointed out, is
Did Arclet just connect with a Droxus on the move? I think Arclet just brought this game right out of the fire. Never mind, here we go, Arclet. Not going to be in position to save Wallhacks as Wallhacks goes down in the 907, and just Arclet's going to stand in between Simp and their first victory in their first match today.
There is a lot, just a much different play that we normally see here on Mines. Generally, we see them rushing up the center of very aggressive plays, but both these teams sitting back saying, hey, maybe we don't want to throw that as our first initial shot. Let's play a little more defensively. Crimson Corsair with that pickup, and that is Simp finding the first victory of the second match of the night. 1-0 now against High Voltage. So, David, let's kind of just quickly, as you guys can see there on the screen, obviously not too much celebration going on. It's just one victory, but hey, that's one step closer to the final $75,000. So they got to be feeling a little happy there. Was that kind of those victories that it was like, oh, Simp just dominated High Voltage, and now High Voltage feels like, oh man, how are we gonna come back from that one? Or is that kind of in a relatively close battle?
That was just a very gradual, very technical positional game. Simp had a lot of the advantages. Really, if it weren't for Ox Thief going down when he did, for whatever reason that was a strategic call, an error on his part. Typically, you don't expect Ox to make big mistakes.
Yeah.
That's really what enabled Simp to get those positions and start working it around. There were still chances they could have done that. Had Ox gotten on the top of the hill, though, that would have been a very different game. So, little things adding up, snowballing. And even though Simp tried to give him a little bit back, missing a couple of critical shots, allowing Bird to escape the middle, it still was firmly in control of Simp's hands from the beginning, and High Voltage almost pulled it back out. Let's go ahead and check out those stats.
Let's do it.
For High Voltage, Blue Boys in the STB, some fantastic play from him, almost saving that entire game on his own. 25-46 out of his STB. Ant with 2,400, Bird with 2,300, 2,000 out of Wallhacks in a 907. Lorraine 155-51, driven by Arclet, 1396. Some pretty great shooting from him. It's kind of similar to that Noble situation, though. Hard to say if it's a great asset to the team, given the positions, the amount of damage, and the strategic loss you have for it. But let's go ahead and focus on
20
Simp.
shots.
A Droxus with 3277 in his 907. Overlord Prime with 3000 in his T22. And 1150 bounced out of that overall. 2,700 out of the 113 of Photo Finish. And 18 out of Nits. 1,700 out of Crimson Corsair. And 2 zeros up on the board for Dry Nits and E63M6. E6, not usually a person you expect to miss those shots.
Yeah.
Put in a critical position. That's kind of the trade-off that happened for Ox and E63 that leveled out the balance a little bit. Okay. But Simp just better positions and a better lineup.
Man.
Able to bring it back, even though everything didn't go according to plan.
So if it did go according to plan, it probably would have been a lot bigger landslide.
It would have been much bigger.
On the side of High Voltage. Well, now we are switching sides. Simp up 1-0. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got. 4 tanks.
For SIMP, we have two 113s, a Bat Chat, a T22, two TVPs, an M40, M43 for high voltage, a Bat Chat, two 907s, an STB, two TVPs, and an RU251. High voltage obviously looking for a hard middle fight with a whole lot of DPM and autoloaders. SIMP not going to be able to get there in time with those two 113s. SIMP very likely to bias themselves into the middle, though, to block that out. They do have a lot of autoloaders on their own. So this could be in business. If those 113s are faster than I expect, they could very well have a nice, solid look here at the middle fight. But high voltage will get there en masse, slightly faster overall, and this is already looking like it's going to be a slugfest for the ages.
Interesting, and bringing the artillery to one of these fights is something we usually don't see because it's so hard when that fight does go down. If your artillery did not hit your teammates there, Bird Thief popping up, trying to find some of the members and taking 922 for it, and the battle for the top of the hill has begun. Shots being fired on all sides. Who will go down first? Will it be someone from high voltage? Will it be someone from SIMP? Tiger Thief looks like he's going to be the first one to fall on that 907. This focus now going on to Overlord Prime. He goes down to Blue Boys captain. Crimson Corsair does take down Anthief. A 1-for-1 exchange. A 907 for a T22. Droxus, though, does find Bird Thief, and he's coming up the hill. He's chasing down Blue Boys captain, it looks like. No, he's turning to Tiger Thief, and he takes him out with Photo taking out Tiger as well. 2 kills back-to-back for the side of SIMP. There's 3! High voltage can just do nothing but sit back and watch their tanks fall one by one. Blue Boys captain managing to find a kill there onto a Droxus, but it is not going to be enough as Crimson Corsair takes down Blue Boys, leaving just Wallhacks alive in that RU251. That was quick.
You said it. That was probably the most effective use of artillery I've seen in WGLNA
Seriously?
today. We'll detail that a little bit when we get into the after action. Wallhack's trying to get away here. Just in the same situation as we saw Marsh in that first battle. His last one alive. He's got virtually no chance, unless for some reason everybody just explodes spontaneously or decides they just want to, you know, make it fair and drive off the cliff. But Wallhack's just looking to see if he can get a little trolley pick and maybe get in their heads, maybe frustrate them a little bit because it's not over yet.
Photo finish is not going to let that happen. The rest of the team go. Drynitz! Hey! Drynitz picking that one up. A nice smile there on Overlord Prime's face as they are now up 2-0 against high voltage here in our second match of the night. And David, let's talk about that was effective artillery, because here's the thing. It's like, oh, you bring artillery, well, you're a tank down. SIMP just basically said, it doesn't matter if we're a tank down in a 6-on-7, we're still going to win.
That last kill was like swatting a fly with a sledgehammer. Just entirely unnecessary. Let's go ahead and get into the stats fairly quickly here. Then we can talk about the little details of the artillery. Just want to see the exact numbers he did here. We'll go ahead and start with high voltage first. Blue Boys, in some of the best play I've seen on Cliff, totally understands some things that a lot of other people don't. You saw him drive directly through their backfield. He took almost no damage for it because he has situational awareness. He watched everything. He got a pick while he did it. It was critical. It was huge. If everybody played like that, high voltage could have pulled it out.
MVP.
TVP, 2577 out of Blue Boys, 1600 out of Ox, and less than 1,000 for everybody else. Now let's go check out SIMP. E63M6 making up for last game with 3,000. Drynitz, 2,000 overall. One shot alone was over 1,000. Nits with 2,000. We'll go ahead and call it 2,000 for photo finish. 1,700 for Crimson Corsair. 1,200 for Adroxus. And Overlord Prime doing exactly what he needs to in the T22. You notice SIMP's not bringing too many of them because the T22 is great to absorb a certain amount of damage in one spot, but it's not the best damage dealer. It's not the fastest DPM overall. So on the horn of that hill, that closest fight where we saw that first artillery shot land is a very critical part of the fight. And typically it's actually Southern favored. So all SIMP is doing here is they're putting a T22 there to slow it down a little bit, and they're dropping a bomb with the M40, M43, and you saw 500 on one guy, 400 on another. And the problem for high voltage when they go in there is they know that shot can go anywhere in between those rocks. If you step up with the wrong tank, a TVP in the wrong spot, and he gets body contact, that could be upwards of 1,000.
That's so fun.
But if they don't, he can splash a bunch of people very reliably, maybe a little bit too spaced for SIMP, but they do have to, or for high voltage, but they do have to share hit points. Just great meta game coming out of SIMP.
Yeah, fantastic job. Like we talked about, very well rehearsed. A very scary thing to going up against. Right now, they're up 2-0 against high voltage. Let's see if they can continue the snowball, or can high voltage start to come back? Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
for SIMP. Back on offense, trying to get their third win on this map. 113, a bat shot at 907, 2 T22s, a TVP, and an RU-251 for high voltage. Back to the two 113s, a bat shot at 907, an STB, a TVP, and a Lorraine 155-51 again. They're going to go to the exact same position so far, and that, in my opinion, is a critical error, as SIMP can adapt to that no problem. If Arclit parks in the exact same spot he did last time, it would not surprise me to see him even get blind fired.
Really?
But SIMP isn't necessarily the type of team that's going to waste a whole lot of time doing that unnecessarily, but if this stagnates, we're going to see some shots flood into that area. Drynitz knows he can shoot down the 1-2 line. Perhaps SIMP getting a little bit meta here, sending two T22s down. It's not a bad guess. It'd be very strange for high voltage to do the same thing twice, but they are. SIMP trying to bank on that. They're going to try and send two T22s to dig that out, or perhaps they're going to have some nice flank shots in the 113s, but they are both lit. So the surprise is over for SIMP. So many of their tanks are spotted. High voltage has beautiful information. If they go flooding into the donut, it's going to be a very uncomfortable fight for SIMP.
They've got it right now. Maybe they're going to find this overmatch. And it looks like that's the call. Bird Thief starting to go up, and this 50-51 here. And coming to join him, Tiger as well. A shot coming out from Androxus to try to warn, scare off high voltage from making that pick. Blue Boys captain and Nitz, as you guys can see in the top right of your screen. Just kind of going head-to-head there. A couple shots firing. Actually, Nitz firing onto Ox Thief, going right over the top of that bat chat. Now, David, let's just talk about the mind games when it comes into the finals, because what I'm thinking about is, yes, you're going up against, after you win this, you get to go, move on one step closer, but do you want to give away all your secrets right now? Because the rest of the other team could be, watching, and they'll be able to find out. And which ones do you hold, or do you just go out on the board right now?
Everybody here is a threat. You don't want to sit on anything, keep anything special. You're better off watching the teams that played before you and trying to come up with specific counters on the day for them at that time. But realistically, all these teams, they know exactly what they're going to do. They're trying to just play a dynamic game where they're looking for information and making decisions from there while never leaving the sort of cover and safety that they need. It's all a game of trying to steal the right positions at the right time for as little risk as possible. So as long as they can get one team rotating, as long as they can get vision, then they're in business. All teams are doing the exact same things here. Very few regimented strategies. Right now, SIMP just has a better understanding of the map than high voltage, and perhaps a lineup advantage, because that 155-51 is always going to be like an ankle weight while you're trying to tread water.
All right, here we'll see if that artillery does come into play for better or for worse for high voltage. As 5 minutes and 30 seconds from now on the clock, so still over half the time that SIMP has to be able to figure out what to do.
One of the best parts about what high voltage is doing right now is they have denied all information from SIMP. They only know where one tank is, and that is Blue Boys all the way over there in the northwestern side. We haven't seen any other counter spotting going on here of any sort of reliable amount. Ox Thief getting a spot on Androxus. High voltage knows exactly where SIMP is, and SIMP is just utterly lost in comparison. They are getting some rotations to find that information. Anytime you get stuck as a pro team, you always need to have a plan for how you're going to get unstuck. If you don't know something, how are you going to find out where that person is? Right. And right now, SIMP taking their time to get there. This is either fantastic clock management or a little bit of confusion. It's hard to say because 4:40 left on the clock. There is enough time, and using the T22 is a great move. It's hard to penetrate, and you will have to sit a little bit too long, allowing Ox to get shot back. So Overlord Prime moves up one rock at a time. You see some shots there landing right next to Ox, and that is the threat. He can't peek over and deny Overlord Prime because it's a T22. You have to aim too long, and you will get lit up from Crimson Corsair and Adroxus from this angle. But they are now counter-spotted as Overlord Prime moves up, and it looks like SIMP is going to start getting their first tastes of information in this battle.
I was just going to say, what time does it come to when you're SIMP, where you go, guys, we have no information, we have no idea where they're at, let's just pick and go?
That's an interesting question. I'd have to actually be in the current meta and playing to know that exact answer and tell you. Usually, teams have it worked out. You can spend a certain amount of time just rotating and finding things, and then say at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, you have to get going. It usually has to do with how long it takes to get from one point to another and the overall DPM per HP. Right now, Blue Boys captain down to half as Nitz is starting to freestyle, starting to push on the top, and a lot of damage going into Blue. He may go down.
Dryness opened that one up for Nitz to be able to push up, but Wallhacks and the 907 is there to help him out. Nitz looks like he hasn't taken a single shot of damage, though.
Arclit can't fire here. Arclit cannot support Blue Boys or he will go down. He will be spotted from here, and that is the risk of this position. He will only fire if Nitz gets low enough, or if Blue Boys maybe absolutely needs him, but with 2 shots left for Nitz to convert Blue Boys into a kill. Nitz is starting to lose a little bit of damage here. And another shot in, and now it is a one-shot situation. Blue Boys playing an amazing game to come back from where he was.
Seriously, he's done over half the damage.
But the shot is out, and Arclit is lit.
Oh, what a bad turnaround there from Arclit, trying to support Blue Boys captain, and he gets taken down by Overlord Prime just like that. 2 tanks gone, 3 minutes on the clock. E63M6 now taking a lot of damage himself, 14-20 there in that 50-51. Oh, this is not looking good right now for High Voltage at all. They're trying to find a way to convert this into a win. They're trying to find any sort of overmatch they can. Look at that roll onto E63M6. He has 3 points of HP right now, as Oxthief also with just 6 in that bad chat. Druxus finds Zan. Dryness finds Oxthief. Ladies and gentlemen, all 7 members of SIMP are still up and alive. High Voltage with just 3. 16-35, 18-64, Tiger Thief getting folks fired. Look at that. Shots from every single angle going onto that 113 there, leaving just Wallhacks and Bird Thief to fight for themselves. 2 minutes on the clock, plenty of time, and SIMP looks like they're going to pick up their 3rd victory of the night.
I have chills. What beautiful cohesion coming out of SIMP. You see everybody they fire at almost synchronously. Tanks going down 1, 2 at a time, like SIMP is just taking another bite out of High Voltage. 3-0 as they lead off the 2nd place leader from Season 2,
yeah,
Season 1.
What a fantastic, great play so far coming out from SIMP, and High Voltage trying to play, it seems like, that kind of stall game, trying to make SIMP question. We've talked about a lot of the idea of a team making mistakes. As a team, it's great to try to make the other team make mistakes, and it seems like that's what High Voltage is trying to do. Denying vision, I'm assuming, is a great way to do that, because then it's up to SIMP to go ahead and go, all right, well, we have to make a play. It might be a mistake, might walk into a trap. SIMP being in that position, going, all right, let's get some shots here on the Blue Boys captains. The artillery fired. Well, we know where he's at. Let's just go.
That's what we're talking about. 1 step at a time. You move up. Okay, we don't really need to do anything crazy.
Yeah,
we know where Blue Boys is. You can't really escape. So how can we guarantee that we're safe to pick up Blue Boys? And it's just a thought process. We see what we can get. How do we get it without risking too much? They figure that out. They move the tanks. They do it. What does that open up? Step by step, and you see it. And that actually turns out usually tank by tank by tank when it's SIMP playing. Let's go ahead and take a look at those stats.
Let's check it out. That's exactly what happened.
For High Voltage, Bird in the lead with 25-22 in his TVP. Blue Boys almost pulling it out. Just a crazy game from him in that situation. 20-26 in the STB. A huge advantage for a T22 in that position to go against Blue Boys in his position. So it's a miracle he even lasted as long as he did. Ant with 12-53, 12-52 from Wallhacks, 11-83 from Ox. Tigers with 4-54, and 0 out of Arclit, just in a tough situation overall. But for SIMP, 33-56 out of Nits, 23-90 out of Overlord Prime, 18-35 out of Adroxus, 1700 for Drynets.
Gosh.
And you saw it there. I was talking with Overlord Prime and some of his other teammates yesterday, and I don't know if they were messing with me, but it seems true. They were considering Overlord Prime to be the best T22 in WGLNA. They always put him in it. There's the only one T22, he's in it, and he lasts incredibly long. We saw a game in regular season. He bounced something like 10,000 hit points.
It was like the,
when
the
he
night
was
we were
half
looking
dead.
at armor. Yeah. Again, the kind of trolly nature of that tank really working out well for them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, SIMP has the opportunity to go up 4-0 against High Voltage for the final battle on the cliff here. Can they do it, or can High Voltage come back? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
And for the 4th and final battle here on Cliff, SIMP bringing a bat shot in STB, 2 T22s, 2 TVPs, and RU-251 for High Voltage, a bat shot, 2 907s in STB, 2 TVPs, and an RU-251 of their own. Again, looking at an all-medium, for the most part, slugfest potential.
Slugfest potential.
Always love Cliff because you always see some great brawls or nice technical positional play. There's only a handful of ways to play it, so it boils down the meta into a thing that's just beautiful to watch. You can always see exactly what's going on, where a lot of other maps are so complex it's hard to track. Cliff is always easy to understand, and High Voltage running smack dab in his SIMP right there in the middle. And perhaps a wombo fight here as both TVPs are off on the side. If High Voltage does not hesitate, they have a huge advantage, but if they wait, those TVPs will cause all sorts of problems.
They've got to find it right now. They've got to make that gutsy call to say, guys, we got to push. We have a feeling Wallhacks taking 681 right now on the top of the hill from High Voltage. And here comes Blue Boys captain. They're over. They're surrounding Photo. Finish. Shot after shot after shot. And Photo goes down. Crimson, though, does find Wallhacks. And that is a tank for a tank, but it's a tier 10 for tier 9. A great turnaround, but SIMP takes Ant Thief, Blue Boys captain. A double kill coming out for them there, leaving just Tiger Thief, Arclit, Ox Thief, and Bird Thief for the side of High Voltage. Meanwhile, 6 members on the side of SIMP, and here comes the comeback. Arclet takes down Nitz. Crimson Corsair, one more shot away from going down that bad chat. He's got to be careful there. Arclet taking the shot down. Is the depression on the STB1 good enough?
He's tracked, and he does not have the depression to get it. Ox is reloading. He can't get it. Overlord Prime displaying his skill, bouncing so much and staying alive for so long. Both TVPs are ready to come back in. Crimson Corsair is almost reloaded in his bad chat, and Drynet's still at full hit points. High Voltage on the fence right now with SIMP trying to come back.
Overlord Prime now in some trouble. Tiger Thief, one more shot away from taking him down. He gets 629 right in the back. The shot from Tiger actually bouncing onto Overlord, and Overlord is going to come back and win that one-on-one. Ox Thief, though, is there to clean up what High Voltage started, and now it is a 4-on-3 SIMP, 4,000.
And Ox is now stuck. He has to go down. He cannot climb up. He is now essentially out of the battle. If SIMP rotates well enough, they will get a huge advantage. It's essentially a 3 or 4-on-2, and High Voltage has no options as E63 and Adroxus come to put this match to a rest.
They're doing it right now. E63 M6 takes down Bird Thief. Arclet should be falling relatively quickly. Adroxus cleaning that one up, leaving just Ox Thief alive in a bat chat. 2 shots left. Looks like SIMP is going up 4-0 against High Voltage. What in the world is going on? High Voltage seems to just not be able to stand a chance right now against what SIMP is bringing to the table.
What a beautiful game from SIMP. Coming back from a situation I didn't think was possible. High Voltage getting all the picks they needed right off the bat, and then Overlord Prime just taking every single shot from High Voltage like it was nothing.
But that's just been the story of the night, right? It's been these teams who have clearly been in a deficit, clearly been a takedown, HP down, all just in a place where like, well, yeah, normally in the normal season, it's been, oh yeah, they're in this position, yeah, they're not going to win. Tonight, it's like, no, you're in this position. You have a great chance of winning. SIMP coming back.
Pulling it right back.
Oh, my gosh.
That's just absolutely incredible. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get right into those stats.
Yes, stats.
For High Voltage, Ox leading in a pack with 2980 in his bat chat. Bird right behind him with 2143 in TVP. Arclet with 1960. And a team shot in here.
Uh-oh.
I don't think that was going to make that big of a difference overall, but it's something you never want to see. Blue Boys not getting as much in as he did this last time around. 2 907s, everything else below 1,000. And now we check out SIMP. Already spread. You can see it all the way down. Only photo finish. Nothing he could have done about that. He got swarmed right off the bat. The first tank that fell. Everybody else getting in over 1,500. E63 M6 leading with the TVP 2533, 2353 out of Overlord Prime. How much did he bounce? Only 640. No, that was entirely positional play. That is crazy. I expected him to have bounced so many shots, and just like the first match, going into the next map, a timeout coming out from High Voltage. Adroxus, 1854 in his TVP. Drynet's always a fantastic player on Cliff in his RU-251, 1758. Crimson Corsairs, 1742 and 2 kills, 1597 out of Ness.
All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing about the play from Overlord Prime right there in that T22. He looked like he was going down. I mean, he was just sitting barely on any points of HP. He was firing shot after shot after shot, and then when it comes down to it, the final shot that would have killed him, he bounces. And then he kills the tank trying to kill him. So fantastic, like I said, positional play coming out from Overlord Prime. And yes, right now, High Voltage needs to take
always
that
one of the best situations you can get in. If you can get somebody tracked on an elevated situation, they can't point down and they can't move. And if you have the high enough DPM, as you do in most tier 10s to keep them tracked, and these tanks have all crew skills unlocked on their accounts, and they still can't repair in time because of how fast everybody's firing. And this is huge. We talked about this throughout the regular season. We've talked about it today. Track shots are what make WGL the most incredible game to watch sometimes. If you can get the right ones, you can stop people dead in their tracks.
Take a tank out of the battle.
And that is how you play. We have not seen enough track shots coming up from a lot of people.
Well,
the people we've been seeing doing tracks today are the people who have been winning.
And super on point as well. Before we get into the next battle, just another shout out to some of our sponsors, NVIDIA for providing all the graphics cards, Jinx and Plays.tv. Thank you guys so much for making all this possible. Thank you guys at home for watching this. Hope you guys are enjoying this as much as we are. Hope you guys here who are here live, hey everyone here live, hope you guys are enjoying this as well as these teams are getting ready to go into the next fight. SIMP needs one more victory, and that's it. They're going to be the next finalist playing for $75,000. Now, you have to keep in mind, SIMP did just 4-0 High Voltage, so it's possible that High Voltage can 4-0 SIMP, but looking at how things have been playing, SIMP seems like an unstoppable beast. We are now getting ready, ladies and gentlemen, to go into Ghost Sound, which might be High Voltage's graveyard. Let's see if you can dig their way out of this one. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Man, going down 4-0 into Ghost Town. You're going to give up a game on Ghost Town. It is virtually impossible to just 4-0 a team on this map. It is that tough. Simp with an E100, 2215s, a T57 heavy, an Object 907, and 2 T10s. Keep in mind, those 2 T10s are actually tier 9s. That's the name of the tank. Try not to confuse you there. High voltage with an E100, 2215s, an IS-7, a batch shed, a 62A, and an AMX 1390. And you said it, Christian. Simp starting off on defense, and they've got to already be tasting victory.
That's the thing. It's just like, going into this one, like, it's so unfortunate the High Voltage doesn't get a start on defense, because you might be able to pick up a victory and start getting your morales back up. But again, talk to me again just about the kind of the chances of these teams going into grand finals right now. I mean, both these teams got to want it. You've been there before. Tell me about kind of that experience and just what an honor it is to represent North America in front of the entire world for this game.
It's unlike anything else. It's a fantastic team bonding experience. You just get to travel, check out. You get to meet so many of the other teams, and that was always one of the most fantastic parts for me. I met Arclit years ago. At a similar event. It wasn't Grand Finals. I met him long before that, but I also saw him at Grand Finals, and it's so great getting to interact with players, the amount of respect, the amount of knowledge that's around. Everybody's always so happy, especially after all the games have ended. There's no more pressure.
Like, hey, there's
no more mean mugging each other to try and intimidate each other. But right now, Simp playing an incredibly dynamic game here, already pushing to block the entire 2-cap. They've clearly identified this is the most important element of the map for them, sticking both their tier 9s in it and starting to rotate around, taking a very aggressive approach to a map that people are typically very reserved on. And High Voltage now already starting to lose their actual spawn point out of control. And if they do not rotate a little bit more into the west, they're going to get sealed off into a very small portion of the map. Simp looking for some early picks. If they're able to get a nice shot angle here, they're going to take out a lot of these tanks too quickly. Both T215s, the E100 and the IS-7 are far too slow, and there is not enough force. If Simp can find this pick, and Drynet's taking a little bit of damage, but entirely acceptable, as now High Voltage has given away a lot of their positions, and Simp starting to close in for the kill.
All right, Crimson Corsair now proxy spotting Arclit, Tiger Thief. Looks like Bird Thief as well, possibly. I mean, that's photo finish. Even a couple shots there coming out from High Voltage. Only one connecting there. It looked like onto Nits and that T57 heavy. Man, the base of that E100. Every time that thing fires, it just gets me excited. Droxus driving 1, Bird Thief driving 1. And looking at Simp's positions right now, what does High Voltage have to do to come back from this?
Here we go. Simp trying to get this pick on IS-7 driven by Arclit. Overlord Prime actually defecting a couple different plays at the same time. Simp in a 4-on-3 from a corner advantage.
Drynet's 1198 taking all that damage, but it's not going to matter. Overlord Prime finds Xanthief. Tiger Thief does take down Photo. A tank for a tank going through. Wall hacks flying Z63 M6. That is 2 now down for Simp. Just 1 on the side of High Voltage. Now it's 3. High Voltage is on fire. They're finding tank after tank. Crimson Corsair looks like he's not in the best position either. Tiger Thief comes back and finishes him off. And now just 3 tanks for Simp against the 6 for High Voltage. High Voltage is not going to go down that easy against Simp. Nits finds a kill. Bird Thief takes down Overlord Prime. Nits finishes off Bird Thief himself. But it is not going to matter as there is only 2 tanks left. Nits is about to fall here. One more shot from Arclit and he'll be going down here. Drox is doing his best to do as much damage as possible, but it is virtually over for Simp right now. Looks like High Voltage is going to pick up their first victory. Wallhacks might be able to find this one at 1390. Penning and E100. Good luck, Wallhacks. Cheer on Wallhacks. There he is. He gets the kill. A 1390 taking down an E100. And High Voltage is going to find their first victory of our semifinals here in Las Vegas. They're holding on. They've got hope. They want that $75,000 more than anyone else here, and they're going to try to prove it. So looking at kind of Simp's positioning there and the starting ones, we talked about it looked like they were taking away the map from High Voltage. They were saying, hey, you like the spawn point? You think you're going to go to the 2-cap? No, we're going to stop this from you. Where did that kind of slip up for Simp?
Really, from what I saw, and we can verify this in stats in just a second, from what I saw, Bird Thief had an incredible game. He bounced a lot of damage, he did a lot of damage, and he's really the one that allowed High Voltage to rotate back from their inferior positioning and stop Simp dead in their tracks. Let's go ahead and see if my eyes lied.
That's right.
Roll ahead and check out those stats.
Stats time. Da, da, da.
Go ahead and keep you in a little bit of a cliffhanger as we start out with Simp here with 3,100 damage coming out of Adroxus. Great game from him. That's a lot of damage for 4 connections. He must have set somebody on fire or something. Here, Nitz with 3,000 in his T57 heavy. 1242 out of Overlord Prime's 907. 1133 out of his 63 M6. And everybody else not breaking that 1,000 mark. But here we go, and there it is.
You're right.
3754 out of Bird Thief. He actually didn't
snap.
block any damage, which is surprising to me. I thought he blocked a lot, but he certainly did quite a bit over here. Arclit 3354 in his IS-7. 3170 out of Blue Boys. 2869 out of Ox. Just a fantastic shooting game, apparently. Not a whole lot of block damage overall, which is very surprising. I guess Simp was just missing. That's the only really way that could work.
Okay, so Simp just not really bringing their A game for this first map here onto Ghost Town, or the second map, I should say. But they still have 3 more games potentially to just pick up one before High Voltage becomes any kind of a threat. High Voltage now maybe getting that fire starting to build. Let's see if they can turn it into a wildfire. Ladies and gentlemen, Simp is up 4-1. We're getting ready to go right back into the battle. Let's take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For Simp, looking for that final match win that they need to move on here, as High Voltage just trying to stay alive. 2215s for Simp, an IS-4 T57 heavy, a batch shot at W100, an object 416 for High Voltage, 2215s, an IS-7 at T22, 62A at W100. And here we have it, a Lorraine 155-51 again. We'll see if it works out better for them than it has in the past. It's certainly better for them that the similar situation of artillery worked for Noble.
Now, Ox Thief in that E100, that waffle, I love. Usually when I see him in this tank, he does some amazing plays. He dishes out so much damage. As a player, Ox Thief has always just done a fantastic job from last season to this season, showing just artillery, heavy tanks, medium tanks, doesn't matter what you put him in. He's going to show up right now, so someone to definitely keep your eye on is Ox Thief there. But like you said, just so much player talent on both of these teams. And Ghost Town, we've seen twice tonight. So all those regular maps generally being banned out, so it's exciting to see kind of the strats that these teams have built here. High Voltage obviously thinks an artillery is a way to win here on defense. Let's see if they're right.
You can see their different patterns of motion, always staying together to guarantee they can reinforce each other and back each other up. Tiger taking a little bit of damage through a very dicey little vector there, as Nitz walks right back across it, risking a little bit of damage. Not a whole lot, but Simp now largely exposed by High Voltage, as they know exactly where they need to go. High Voltage is spread quite a bit, so if Simp finds the angle they want to push and get in there, they might be in business, but High Voltage's positions are so far back and so well protected, it's going to be a struggle for Simp to look for that tank on tank, and if that's Simp's ball game here, High Voltage may have figured out how to defend them.
Just a total side note. Seeing those glasses right now reminded me that it is not nighttime, and I've been saying good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's really just good afternoon. It's been so ingrained in me. Thank you so much for reminding me there. But man, playing with sunglasses, that just gives you so much more swag points.
It's evening somewhere.
It's evening. Yeah, good evening to all of our evening viewers. I'm just being considerate for all of them right now. 6 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, so almost 2 minutes going by. Simp starting to reposition. They headed over to the north. They're now going for that 2-cap, and it seems like a lot of teams really focusing there right in the center of the map, putting a lot of pressure. 28 seconds now on the clock. Let's see what High Voltage can do to respond.
If Simp can find the right isolation, they might be in business, but otherwise they've given up an incredible amount of territory and control to High Voltage. Simp trying to get some early damage, bouncing a lot, or missing on Anthief. Wallhack stepping up to get a reset. He does get it. He will drop back down. And a lot of damage going into Nitz very, very early.
Now, right there, we have Anthief and Wallhacks being the ones to start resetting.
There it is, the counter push.
Let's see if he can find it right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Overlord Prime going through. They're going to try to find an overmatch onto Anthief, it looks like. Wallhack's going to start joining them. Nitz is in some danger. Anthief, though, 1643. He could be going down right now. Overlord Prime finds that one. They are one tank closer to picking up this victory and being $75,000 richer. But Tiger Thief and the rest of High Voltage is going to try to stop him. Adroxus finds Arclit. Ox Thief takes down Crimson, but he now is on reload. Not a good position to be, as Photo and Overlord Prime coming around the side. Adroxus now a nice shot there on the Wallhacks. 5-13. Dryness getting a little bit of isolation there. Bird Thief and Blue Boys Captain starting to pick him out. EC3M6 coming up to join him. Ox Thief, though, 1 or 2 more shots away from going down. Photo finish picks him up there. And now just 4 tanks remain for High Voltage. Blue Boys finds a kill on the E63M6, but Adroxus takes down Wallhacks. For every kill High Voltage finds, Simp is able to find one. Bird Thief, though, takes down Drynitz, ties it up 3-3 here. High Voltage might be coming back, David. Adroxys is low against Tiger Thief, and if this one-on-one goes through, Tiger Thief should be able to pick this one up, but Photo Finish coming to join him to help him out. They are going to try to pick this one up. They do not want to give High Voltage a single inch. Photo Finish saving Tiger Thief right there, leaving Adroxys with just 25 points of HP. Talk about battle buddies. Now just Blue Boys Captain and Bird Thief for all that remains. 4 minutes on the clock. David, do you think High Voltage has a chance?
Oh, they're certainly close, but they are on defense. They will have to defend. But it doesn't look like Simp cares. They're going to go directly after these early picks right now, trying to find Bird Thief as he gets away. Photo Finish getting a nice track, not getting the penetration he needs. If he can get that angle, Overlord Prime trying to step in without risking too much here. He is one shot in that bat shot. 5 shots out as Overlord picks up Bird Thief.
From the back, right through the crane there. Blue Boys Captain now is the only one that remains for High Voltage. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. He finds Overlord Prime on the move. What a shot. And now, with just 2 tanks, that makes it a lot more interesting. Adroxys one more shot away. Photo Finish that 5B now. David, would you put Photo on cap? Would you just try to chase down Blue Boys right now?
That is a tricky situation. You would definitely want to put Adroxys on cap and leave Photo out to screen, but they do know where Blue Boys can possibly be.
But it's a
Photo has
T22.
cut him off. He might not be able to get away. That's the thing. It's the terrain. Photo knows exactly where he is. Adroxys is starting to head him off. Photo can actually bully him into this corner, stay locked down, and he gets the kill!
He picks it up, and that is Simp's 5th and final victory, ladies and gentlemen, taking it home against High Voltage, only giving them 1 battle in that entire match. They are now 1 step closer to $75,000. They will be facing off against Eclipse. What an amazing, strong performance. As you guys can see there on the screen, everyone is super happy, and why wouldn't you be, David? Why wouldn't you be?
I can't answer that question.
With a play like that?
That was fantastic. Photo has always been a great player. Photo and Adroxys really carrying that out quite a bit, but I have to give huge credit where it's due. First off, we can't really go to the stat screen here, but Photo finished 44-49 in his 2-1-5, 3,000 out of Adroxys. But really, the hero of that match, in my opinion, overall, has to go to Drynitz. He was going down to a 2-1-5, but he dragged him as far away from the main battle as possible while he did it. And that is what enabled Simp to get the room they needed to convert a match that wasn't necessarily in their favor to begin with. And that's really all there is to it.
Oh, fantastic plays, though. But just even throughout the night, like forgetting about Ghost Town, going back to Cliff, the plays that Simp performed there, the rush to the center, bringing artillery and making it work beautifully, showing out even when they didn't have information on High Voltage, pushing very aggressively and finding a kill, coming back from being a tank down. I mean, Simp, battle after battle after battle, really showing up, really performing fantastically, and they definitely deserve now to move on.
What a game.
To go up against Eclipse. Now, I don't want to speculate too much here before we throw it over to Meadowhawk, but now seeing Simp, seeing Eclipse, who are you thinking right now?
Right now, I mean, Eclipse, it's such an impossible comparison. Eclipse came back from almost a guaranteed loss. Simp basically just did the same thing. But Simp came out with such an incredible amount of control.
Very strong.
It's hard to really compare the two right now. I'd have to say I'm still giving an edge to Simp, but Eclipse has impressed me incredible amount today. And honestly, I don't care who wins. This is going to be an incredible game.
And again, this is what's amazing too. All the people at home who are trying to kind of predict who it was. When the interviews went through, the people who you thought was going to win for the finals, you believed it was Simp. I believed it was Eclipse. So right now, one of us is going to be right at the end of the night.
If you think about it, this is a brand new team facing off against the oldest team in the league right now. One of the oldest teams, really.
We have Wisdom versus YOLO, in a sense, going up against it. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, let us know who you think is going to win. Will it be Simp as we're going into the final match? Will it be Eclipse as we're going into the final match? It is so amazing. What I love about this, too, is that just the variety of both these teams, like you pointed out. They're so different. Both have their strengths. I would say both have their weaknesses, but I would have to agree with you. Simp not really showing the weaknesses there. An amazing, dominating play coming out from them, both on Cliff, both on Ghost Town. If you guys, now I guess it's a little too late for the fantasy, but just letting you guys know the competitive format, how fantastic this is. Go over to arena.razor1.com, click on the World of Tanks icon, and you guys can be a part of events like this, competitions like this. They go on all the time. They're super fun. They're super enjoyable. Great to get into, and we really encourage you guys to check that out. Right now, we have Meadowhawk standing by with Simp, the victors. Let's go over to the player pit.
Thanks, Christian. I am here with SIMP, and their hot streak keeps rolling. They absolutely dominated this match. Here with Overlord Prime. So, Overlord, you guys completely swept Cliff. What tank do you think gave you the advantage in all those brawls?
Obviously, my T22.
Of course, good answer. So now, you know you're playing Eclipse in the finals. They upset Noble. What do you think is the biggest challenge against playing Eclipse?
Biggest challenge between fighting Eclipse would be, I guess, they've done a few things that we did not expect. And, that may get into our head during the last match. So, as I said earlier, we just got to play our game, got to stick to what we know. Don't do anything crazy. Don't, throw tanks away. What we did against High Voltage has to be the same thing against Eclipse. Just don't do anything crazy. Stick with what we know.
Indeed you do. And now we are on to quite possibly the most anticipated part of the evening, besides the finals match. I have one more question for you, Overlord. What kind of pie do you like?
Traditional apple pie.
Oh, good choice. Jose, what kind of pie do you like?
I like all kinds of pie. Apple pie, cherry pie, whipped cream pie, and that is luckily what we have right here. Now, World of Tanks is known for its fun. It's known for its games. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Earlier this year, there was a huge Pro Bowl between the commissioner, Ute, and Trevor, and the losing coach had to take a pie in the face from the winning coach, and if you can tell by who's pointing at who and who looks very dejected and sad, Ute's team won that Pro Bowl match. So now he gets to deliver a pie to Trevor's face with everybody counting down from 3. 3, 2, 1. That is the price of victory, and that is delicious. Tastes like beard. Oh, I think it's a hair. It's actually not bad. At least you're a good sport about it. Next time, don't face the commish in a Pro Bowl. Lessons learned. Lessons learned here. You guys are both good sports. Thanks for coming by, and thank you for taking a pie into the face. Now, one thing we like to do, we do know that World of Tanks has been around for quite some time, and we like to pay a little tribute to players from past to present, and who doesn't love a good montage? So we put one together, and this one's for you, Jsmooth.
What do you think is going to be the toughest part of Season 2?
Well, I'd like to ask you, Quinn, what do you think the toughest part of Season 2 will be for us?
Wow,
Here we go.
Putting me on the chopping block already. Well, fantastic.
They have planned this already.
They certainly have.
I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Merry Christmas, sir.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas from Santa Smooth.
Oh, Santa Smooth. It's so good to see you. Hey, Smooth. Is there anything like to say to Conky before we start?
Oh, I always got something to say. First off, I'm going to be looking into the eclipse. I've come prepared.
Oh, my God. Heck yeah.
Second off,
Heck yeah, you have.
the man is watching if you're naughty or nice over there. Third, please don't tell me you're going to be the next Void that all you do is face-offs and you never play the game.
Jsmooth, is that some sort of celebration?
It is Saturday night in the Smooth household. We always like to kick it and relax, but there's always business to be done, so I got my business socks on.
Oh man.
You better believe it.
How's it going?
It's going good. Was that the guy from the Micro Machines commercials?
Which guy?
Or is that reaching way too far back for most of you guys?
Gosh.
Got a close eye on these simple tankers tonight. I don't want to see no deflated balls on the field. I don't want to see any of this sketchy stuff. So,
Guys, I don't know what Laps is talking about. This ball seems very pumped. No issues here. Our admin looks at all my team's balls before the matches start. Sometimes Clutch will even make sure the balls look good. So, I don't know what he's talking about.
With the season coming to a close, is there anything you would like to say to your fans, Jsmooth?
Oh, the fans what makes me keep coming back. It's been what 6 seasons now of these fun face-offs. Hopefully, I try to make a lot of them as memorable as possible.
Every single one.
Yeah, everyone. You should go back and look at some of the old ones. I mean, all the Twitter fans. You know, that's been a big thing. The fantasy league's been awesome, and it's running into people at different live events. It's awesome. It's something that. People of our status really wouldn't be able to do without esports and World of Tanks and the Gold League and the hard work you guys put into it. So we appreciate you as well.
Highway to the danger zone. Ride it into the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone.
All right, we're sitting here with Jsmooth. How's it going, buddy?
Wow. I did not see that coming. That was good.
So have you been enjoying the finals so far?
Oh, the finals have been great. Holy smokes. Can you believe some of those plays? The excitement, Eclipse coming out, knocking down the champ, high voltage like deer in the headlights when SIMP coming through, making things happen, 5-1, 5-2. Wow.
It's been absolutely incredible. Did you expect any of this to happen while you came here?
No, I knew it was going to be a game of matchups. Noble can kind of sit back and really hold on to their strats hard, and Eclipse does a good job of looking at teams and being able to move. So if Noble stayed still, they were going to get moved around on, and it happened. Same thing, SIMP and high voltage. I thought high voltage was going to be able to move around some on SIMP, but Rude's put together some really good strats for SIMP, kind of kept high voltage on edge, and I don't know how Cliff got through for SIMP because they proved that they know that thing like the back of their hand. That was crazy.
I agree completely. So there's been rumors around that you're perhaps retiring after this season. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, I just, 7 seasons now of this. Takes a lot of toll, a lot of time on the personal life. My career's moving forward, my life. So it's time for me to take a little bit of a back seat. I will be here next season. I will not be in the same capacity as before. I might pull out my inner comps and tofu and take a back seat to the guys that play this game better than I do, and take on more of a coaching role that I'm used to when I do that in my real life, and let my team go forward. But I will be around. You might see my face on a few more face-offs, but when it comes to the tanking, I think I'm going to take a little bit of backseat to that.
So you're taking the Zoid path then?
Well, I'm not going to go that far, man. We're not going to go that far. But, yeah, a little bit. I don't want to ever be that guy, but, yeah.
All right, so who do you think is actually going to take? So we're actually going to come back with a 3rd and 4th match relatively soon here. Thanks to SIMP for making us the time to actually be able to show that for you today.
Yeah,
who do you think is going to be coming out to win the 3rd and 4th match and the overall grand prize?
I don't know. It's such a hard turnaround. I mean, they're getting a little bit of taste of what we had to go through in the playoffs, where you play a match, and all of a sudden you're playing a new opponent within an hour. There's no prep time for that. They thought they were going to be playing this match in the finals, I'm sure, both those teams. Man, I don't know. I'll probably go Nobles. I think high voltage is on tilt a little bit. That's where I'm going to go. You saw it in that match. It's not the normal high voltage team we're used to seeing. Now SIMP played great, but a 5-1. That's.
Anytime you see a score like that, it's always a little bit of give and take.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out and talking to us, Jsmooth. Thanks for coming to Vegas. It's always a pleasure to see you. And we'll be back with the 3rd, 4th match right after this.
I'll see you in the day.